What's up, guys? Josh Sykes with Bent Rods Guide Service. Hanging out in the house today, getting some tackle and stuff ready and getting ready for a seminar tonight at Cypress Bend. As you can see outside, man, it is miserable out there. A high of 43, off and on rain, winds blowing. I'm sure the fish are biting, but I'm not going to be out there in that unless I absolutely have to. But as I'm getting my stuff ready, a lot of people have asked a lot of questions about chatterbait fishing. You know, it's one of those techniques, if you haven't really spent a lot of time doing it, you probably don't have a lot of confidence in it. But man, once you build confidence in a chatterbait, it gets some really, really big bites. So today we're gonna look at what color chatterbaits I throw, what trailers I throw it on, and what rod and reel setup that I'm using. So out here on Toledo and Rayburn both, man, a chatterbait is deadly around the grass, especially pre and post spawn. And so first thing I'm gonna go through is my rod and reel setup, what I'm using. I went through a lot of rods looking for the right rod for a chatterbait. It's different than a spinnerbait. You need good backbone to bury that single hook, but at the same time, you've got to let them fish really choke it and get it down their throat, or you'll miss a lot of fish. That's why I've settled on a heavy action glass rod. This is a Dobbins 736 CB glass. It is built specifically for a chatterbait. It is a fantastic chatterbait rod. I've used 7-foot medium heavy, 7.3 heavies, and I've caught fish on all of them, but my hookup ratio went up when I went to this big glass rod. As far as reels go, this is just a Shimano Corrado, but any good 6:3 to 1 gear ratio reel is going to be key. You don't want something too fast that the chatterbait's going to rise in the water column, and you don't want it too slow where you can't catch up to a fish when they start running at you. So that 6.3 is just a good medium speed for chatterbait fishing. And line, I've tried it on braid, I've tried it on mono, I've tried it on copolymer, and I've settled on 20-pound fluorocarbon. You know, this is a 20-pound Sunline Sniper, but any good 17 to 20-pound fluorocarbon line is best for chatterbait fishing. But other than that, man, what you're really looking for when you're throwing a chatterbait is you're looking for good grass edges. It is a fantastic bait to follow up a trap with. So if you're catching fish in an area on a trap and they get off a trap, pick up a chatterbait. You can cover a lot of water with it, and it rips through grass really, really well. Matter of fact, it rips through grass even better than a trap. So you get, you know, the fullness of your cast because you're not coming in with a dead cast because you got grass on your bait. You could rip it through that grass and get some good reaction strikes. You know, we caught a 9-pounder on it this past week. Caught a lot of those 3 to 5 pound fish here on Toledo and Rayburn the past couple weeks on a chatterbait. And so there's really two things that I do to a chatterbait, or two things that I'm specifically looking for. Those two things are the color of the bait I'm going to throw, which is typically only going to be one of 3 colors: a white, you know, any good shad pattern, a fire crawl, that red color, and green pumpkin. I'm going to throw the white if I see a lot of shad flickering around in the grass. A lot of times we get some warm days, those shad will move into that grass, and I'm going to pick up a white chatterbait. If the water's real cold or if the fish are eating on crawfish, that's when your fire crawl chatterbait is really going to come into play. It gets a lot of good bites this time of year, January and February. And then once your brim and your sun perch move into the grass, starting in probably mid-March all the way through May, that's whenever your green pumpkin colors are going to come into play. This is a green pumpkin chartreuse, you know, a green pumpkin red, but any good green pumpkin color is going to come into play when those brim and sun perch move into the grass. The other thing I'm looking for is the blade color. There's basically 3 blade colors that I'm throwing. A painted blade. This is a green pumpkin painted blade. I'm going to throw a gold blade, and I'm going to throw a silver blade. If the fish are up in the grass and they're feeding on shad, like let's say in the shad spawn, that's when I'm picking up some sort of white looking color with a silver blade. If it's cold and the fish are feeding on shad, I just seem to get more bites on a painted blade. You know, just a green pumpkin or a black painted blade. And then if the water's got a little bit of color to it, a little stain, that's when I really go to that gold blade. It's got a little more flash in there. It kind of has that crawfish look to it. Plus, you got a good shad pattern on the back, man. That is absolutely deadly this time of year. A gold chatterbait with a white swim bait on the back. And basically, what I'm doing with these baits, as you can tell, a lot of times I'll cut the skirt off of them and just put a trailer on the back. That skirt kind of restricts the movement of your trailer. When you cut that skirt off, you get a lot more action on the trailer of your bait. But there are times that I still throw it with a skirt too. As you can tell, you know, these baits have your trailer and your skirt. So I'm gonna try both to really see which one of the fish are honed in on that day. I'm gonna fire that bait out there, count it down to let it sink to the top of the grass, and I'm not burning a chatterbait back like I'm a trap. I'm just slow rolling that chatterbait, just ticking the top of the grass. When I feel my rod start to load up with grass, that's when I rip it free, let it fall back down to the top of the grass, slow roll it again. As far as trailers go, there's really only 3 trailers that I'm throwing. I throw one of them probably 90% of the time, and that's gonna be a Lake Fork live magic shad. This magic shad's got a lot of action, and it keeps the bait upright. You know, a lot of people throw some sort of like a skinny dipper or a little dipper on the back of it, a paddle tails type bait. What I found is with the paddle tail, the bait rolls a lot more, and when it rolls, you lose a little bit of that thump. That's why I like the magic shad a little bit better. And then lastly, some sort of like a rage crawl or a rage bug. I typically throw those on my green pumpkin whenever I'm up there and catching them around, you know, ground beds and your sun perch in the grass. That's when I'm going to that rage crawl or rage bug on the back of that bait. But man, switch it up, throw a few of them, but man, just put it in your hand. It's not a bait that you're typically going to go catch 30, 40, 50 fish on, but if you can get 10 bites, 5 of them more than likely are going to be some really, really good fish. A lot of tournaments out here, tournament bags won and money won out here on a chatterbait on Toledo and Sam Rayburn. So if you got any questions, man, drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to just go out on the lake, learn how to throw a chatterbait this time of year and catch some good fish, man, give us a holler. We'd love to help you out.